Hey everybody! Welcome to the Chris Gethard Q&A on our brand new Twitch page for Chris Gethard Presents. We're going to be taking your questions from Twitch chat, so be sure to follow us. Be sure to follow us on Twitch because it's a followers only chat. If you haven't already done so, check out our Discord. That's Planet Scum. You can go to chrisgeth.com/live for an invite there. But I'm gonna shut up because you guys aren't here to see me. You guys are here to see the man of the hour, Chris. How you doing? You're on screen now, buddy.
I'm feeling okay. I always like to be honest. I'm going to say the answer's okay.
You
I
doing
did have
okay?
I did have someone today tell me some doctor asked me how I was doing, and I said I'm actually feeling pretty good lately. And she said, "Well, you look visibly sad." So
No.
that's how I'm doing. That's okay.
No, no. Do me a favor. I'm gonna call you out after that. I need you to tilt the camera up just a little because we're just getting the top. We're cutting off your head.
I know I'm trying. That's intentional.
That's intentional.
Well,
Oh
I'm trying to cut off my hairline.
no,
I don't want people
buddy.
seeing my hairline.
You're good, man. You're good.
I did it for you. I tilted it back for you. Well, I just feel like the headphones just really, really highlight this part of things,
But see,
and
you put it back now, and now it's better.
it's a little better. Yeah, I should
Uh,
have worn a hat. I meant to wear a
do you
hat.
want to go get a hat? You can do that. We have the
Yeah, I'll
freedom to
be
do
right
this,
back. Give
baby.
me a second, everybody. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody.
This isn't a technical difficulty. This is a personal difficulty. Thank you to everybody that's following as we go on Local Punk, Mr. Rubio, Arc Tiki. Everybody's saying in here, cool 7-Eleven hat. Everybody wants.
Here we go.
Is that the 7-Eleven hat? People are. Oh, he can't hear me. Is that the
Yes,
7-Eleven hat? People want
it
to know.
is. I did purchase this hat at 7-Eleven. For some reason, 7-Eleven sells surprisingly quality hats. Yeah, I
There we
like it.
go.
I have two 7-Eleven hats. Really like them.
Nice, 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 nice. People were asking for a purple hat. Let's see here. All right, start loading in your questions, folks. We need Q's to A. Chris, let's talk while people are sending in their questions. Let's talk about this week's episode of CGP. We got Christy Cello.
Yeah.
What can people expect from this week's episode of CGP?
Well, I think the really good thing about Christy is maybe more than any of the other recurring hosts, it's hard to know what to expect because she keeps switching it up. Like Martin is really trying to like build out amateur class and blow it out, and Carmen's doing the Great Night Show and it's really growing. But Christy, switches it up. So I really applaud that. It makes her life harder, but it's just cool to watch someone experiment that hard. And this one's a tribute to New York City, and I know she's bringing in like real nuts elements that show off New York in a real way. So super excited. I think she's the best. And I hope people check it out and like it.
And I know a lot of people were very pleased with her rejection episode. So, like you said, Chrissy's just changing it up, and she's taking big swings. So I'm looking forward to this week. Let's go to Sladen in chat. Says, what is the one thing that surprised you most about becoming a parent, and do you think improv skills have helped you with that at all?
Improv skills, no, they have not helped me with parenting. I can't lie about that. Improv is, comedy and a bunch of people pretending to be like robot pirates and stuff. Like little to no effect on my parenting. I would say the most surprising thing is how fun it is because everybody kind of braces you and talks about how hard it is and like tries to scare you a little bit. And it is hard, but it's also just like so fun.
Yeah.
And I wish that people had talked about that just as much because he just makes me laugh. He makes me laugh really hard.
Let's see. Camino84 is asking if you got to pick one, who has utilized call-ins most creatively/effectively thus far?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, I think it's probably Josh Sharp,
Yeah.
which I feel like that episode is pretty underrated and it kind of slipped through the cracks maybe views-wise, but he did 3 different call-in topics at once, which is such a simple idea, but what I really like is he treated them as 3 separate concurrent talk shows.
Yeah.
3 different sets, 3 different co-hosts, and a lot of running around. And I know everybody in the Discord has a current bit of like chaos, but I think his was the most chaotic by far, and I think a lot of that is because of the phones. And I know when I asked him to do it, he said to me, he's like, I just want to do the phone calls. And he told me the call-in topics he was coming up with. I'm like, dude, you're just kind of baiting like homophobes and racists. He's like, that's exactly what I want. Let's go cause some real trouble.
I was rewatching that episode recently because we were doing marathons this past weekend here on the Twitch. I watched Josh Sharp's episode almost in full, and that episode, like you said, it sort of got lost in the shuffle. Maybe it is an episode not to miss. So if you haven't watched it already, seek it out on the marathon, seek it out on YouTube. That one's a good one.
Yeah, and I've one of the things about CGP that I've been really loving is that I ask the hosts to do it, but then they're free to invite comedians they like to come join them. And very often they're people that I don't know at all or that I'm only vaguely aware of. And Max Witter, I've met Max a couple times. We actually did Julio Torres years ago, put out a video that was asking people to help contribute money so that he could, pursue a visa and hire lawyers. And I met Max there, but at cross paths since. He's so funny on that episode, like really, really funny. And now him and Sam Taggart, who played Chef Sam and was a standout on Chet de Pumice, they're teaming up to co-host their own episode, which that's an aspect of CGP that I wish I could figure out how to get word out clear. Is like, it's not about just like, here's another thing, here's another thing, here's another thing. It's like, here's this web of people that all sort of intersect in real comedy around New York. They all do shows together, and let alone on our, public access platform. So,
well, and really, like your initial pitch of the show, it's that it's bringing you comedy that you can stay home in your pajamas, or if you live in, we got plenty of Ohio representation in our fan community. They're not geographically near this comedy, but they can see it, and we're bringing it.
Yeah, definitely. I want, my goal most of all was just to sort of say, like, there's a lot of comedians, especially sort of like underground alt comedians in New York, that people don't know about. And I think they should know about them. I think it's kind of garbage that they don't know about them. I look at some of the people who are maybe like mainstream, and I'm like, they're not as funny as the people I know. And I'm not going to name names because that would be pretty shitty, but I'm like, these people are so funny.
Yeah.
Find out about them here first, man.
And I mean, I've personally found a lot of favorites just by like following like Sydney Washington from Josh Sharp's episode, or even Sam Taggart. You end up following these people on their things that they're doing outside of CGP, and you're gonna find a favorite like Annie Donnelly. Everybody
so
should be
and funny.
consuming. I texted with Carmen earlier today because we needed to put out a clip from his episode, and we went back and forth on it. We just posted out Annie Donnelly's Pop Rocks bit from this past week.
It was so nuts. She's really nuts.
Go seek it out, CGP everywhere. The clip is just insane. The clip is insane.
And he makes me laugh so hard because she's such a sweet person in real life. And like every time we meet up, we show each other pictures of our kids, and it's so gentle. But you put her on a stage or you point a camera on her, and this just demon comes out. And she also will be hosting her own episode coming up. Let me look up the dates on some of these ones on.
Oh, you're gonna leak dates.
Well, yeah. Oh, they're back to back. Annie's hosting an episode on January 29th, and then Sam and Max are hosting the February 5th.
There you go.
So, yeah, trying to build the web.
There you go. I had a question a second here, and then it went away. Olivia wants to know if Found Footage Festival will be back soon. This is, I believe, Olivia, our set decorator.
Yeah. Also, Olivia is really, really good at what she does, and the crew is so nice and so hardworking and keeps pulling stuff off. I mean, if you look at the sets, between it's Olivia, and then I think the other two guys are Nick and Jasno that really deserve a lot of credit for the lighting and sets, and it's and everybody. There's a lot of people, but those three take that on really hard, and so good. I forget the question. What was the actual question?
It was if Found Footage is going to be around
Footage.
again.
Yeah, Found Footage wants to come back. They had a really great time. I really enjoyed having them. They bought all that lattice, and then they returned it all the next day. They brought it themselves. Found Footage, I want to bring them back. Here's the truth of the matter is scheduling the show through the end of April, And I'm not saying this to be doom and gloom. I'm not saying this to be dramatic, but if it doesn't kind of catch some momentum between now and the end of April, I can't keep asking the comedians and the crew to work this hard. Like
Yeah.
Bryson alone, like you're building a whole infrastructure and graphics and everything, and Dave's dedicating all this time, and then everybody gets along and everybody has a lot of fun. And I've heard consistently that the comedians are having a lot of fun doing it. So point being, I don't have found footage on the schedule between now and when it's going to potentially wrap up. But should we catch that momentum that allows it to kind of keep going further, which I would love, they're some of the first people I plan on reaching back out to again.
And like you said, maybe Twitch is the answer, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a platform that could really lend itself to what we're trying to do. So I hope people keep joining and sending their friends our way, and maybe this is it is a platform that seems to make a lot more sense than YouTube.
Let's see here. We've got a lot of people doing F's for respect and bits in the chat, trying to weed through it to find ourselves a question. Natalie Portbuns 23 asked, Chris, how did you come up with the idea of CGP? Outside of the virtue behind it, or like the goal behind it, what brought you to CGP?
Well, I really was thinking long and hard about what I really loved about the Gethard show by the end, because there had been a lot of pressure put on us by the end, and there were some things that really you could feel that pressure, and I think that was just starting to become evident on camera, and that was part of why I started telling our writers, like, I think we gotta, if you guys get offered other jobs, go for them, because I think we gotta wrap this up. And then True TV agreed. But when I was thinking about the thing that was giving me a lot of joy, one of the things that was such a happy thing for me was I was able to hire comedians to write for the show, to act on the show. There's a lot of comedians I really love who are going places now where their first job has my name on it in some fashion. I mean, our writers' room has had some killers: Joe Firestone, Julio Torres, Anna Fabrega, Will Miles. They're all working on shows now, their own shows, other shows.
Yeah.
Everybody's bounced around. Then you think of actors. I'm like, Gary Richardson was on our show, and I was writing for SNL. John Reynolds was on our show, and he had already started to really move out. I'm not trying to claim credit for any of these people, but like, we watched Search Party, Stranger Things. Joe Pera, first time on TV, our show. Connor O'Malley, first time on TV, our show. So a lot of people that I really love, that I think are really doing meaningful stuff. It gave me a lot of joy. So this felt like a project that could really focus just on that joy.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to shout to the hilltops about people who I think really deserve the spotlight. And I mean, you can vouch for me, Bryson, you're on all the emails. Like, my main contribution right now, and I feel like you and I both share this, is just banging my head against the wall, trying to find a way to get more people paying attention.
We're working on it.
We're doing our best.
And well, to your point of like just like comedians, like giving a spotlight to comedians, I was just bringing up on my phone dates so that I had this right. This week is Chrissy Cello. Next week, the show is going to be airing a pre-tape best of episode. And I just wanted to mention that to say that not only the comedians that are hosts, but also the comedians doing bits on all these episodes, like you were saying before, that it opens it up to this world of people that maybe you potentially don't know. That anybody, we've talked about Daddy Suave a lot before.
My favorite.
We've talked about Katie Hartman. Some of these sort of like segment bit players on the shows are names to know, and you're gonna see, we've talked before about, you usually get at least one solid like big moment from each episode that is so quality.
Even the episodes that wind up being like maybe the outlines were a little more scattered and people are just kind of bouncing from bit to bit, still something has crushed me every time. And then you get the episodes like Enchanted Pumice, Iron Man 5, Talk-a-Doodle-Doo, Klon, where these guys are really, really planning their stuff hard. And I'm just like, man, it feels like our old public access show, but everybody in the crew is more battle tested and we know how to actually execute some cool stuff. So I don't know, man. You feel me, baby?
uh, goddamn Emily Pineapple asked a follow up question, which is, what does take off mean to Chris? I think they're referring to like
What I
taking
keep
the show
saying, yeah.
taking off.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'll be very honest. I'm not a very like click or number driven person, but people are pouring time and energy and effort into this, and I can't ask them to keep doing that if I can't get more people to watch it. And I don't say that as a threat. I don't say that to whine. I just say it as a reality. I feel like it's unfair to ask people to just like break their backs as hard as they are if I can't make it just a little bit more of a thing that spreads. And not everything does. You take some big swings. You just try to make good stuff. If it catches, it catches. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I mean, like ending in April, May, that's like another solid 6 months. And I just feel like at that point, we're gonna see if that momentum is caught. And it's just numbers, and it's just maybe it's numbers, maybe it's press, maybe it's people being able to take what they've workshopped on the show and pitch it and sell it to other things in a way that feels good. But the whole point of it is to be an incubator. And without some of those things happening, it's not really fulfilling that. And that's on me. But I can't ask people to pour as much as they're pouring into it if I can't deliver on what I think they should be getting out of it.
Yeah, and we should mention that uh, our existing community around the show, because we've talked about the show as community, not just the community surrounding creating the show, but the community that we have supporting the show. Everybody in our Discord, everybody
So
that
good.
supports the show online, we are overwhelmed by the amount that people are showing their love for the show. Weekly fan art has been incredible to see. So I saw some people mentioning on here, is the Discord going away? I think they're asking that because of Twitch. Discord's not going away, baby.
Yeah, you feel me, baby?
No, Twitch will be the place to chat during when things are live here on the Twitch stream. So like the Q&A right now, we're going off of the Twitch chat, but the backbone community will be Discord. Chris, you've talked about the Discord before. You sneak in there from time to time. You've called it addictive. Any other terms you would use to refer to our Discord community?
I think it's kind. I think the people there are nice. I think it's a fantastic way to kill some time and, maybe be a little less productive with your day. But it's funny. It's one of those feelings where it's like, oh man, I should be working now, but also connecting with other people who seem kind and creative and appreciative of those qualities. Like, it's really fun. It's really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, we
It's also
have.
confusing to me. I'm old and it is confusing to me. There's all these functions in it that I don't even know how people are accessing. I'm like, it's a chat room. And then people are like broadcasting stuff and all, and I'm like, I don't even know how this works.
In fact, to all of our folks over at Discord, and if you're not already a member, go over to chrisgeth.com/live. There's a button right there. If you're on Twitch, even in our info page, there is a button down there to join our Discord server. Join it right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask anybody in our Discord, folks in the know. We have a call queue in there. Join the call queue. Chris and I might attempt to take a phone call if Chris, and you know this might be an issue on old Uncle B's end, if I have the sound working right.
Yes, yes, not your strongest suit.
I will say, shout out to Forrest in our Discord server who showed me a piece of software that I think finally fixed the sound, Chris.
Oh, wow, that was like a year and a half ago that issue started.
This is the microphone that I'm using that I took to New York and screwed up my interview with you. Sarasota asking, will you still continue the sandwich night tradition even if you quit comedy in April? Lots of people talk about you quitting comedy in April on Discord, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I actively talk about it all the time. It's all I want. It's all I want is to quit comedy. It's a toxic community full of snakes and rats.
Hey, buddy.
the truth. It's the truth. I've had some recent experiences that have really demoralized me on the comedy scene. That being said, I'm not gonna uh, moan too much about that. Sandwich night. I forget how I was trying to count them up. I think this year's like the eighth one or something. It's
Ooh,
kind of
yeah, I don't
crazy.
know.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I think I'll continue it as long as I can, and we'll see. Maybe I just never do comedy again, and then I emerge once a year to do sandwich night and go away. That would be pretty funny. And someone's asking, I see, why is sandwich night not the day before Thanksgiving this year? Well,
Yeah.
cutie girl, that's that. And the answer is because I would like to spend time with my family now. And I felt real tortured about that. And then I was like, wait, this is an arbitrary holiday I made up. I'm allowed to switch the day.
It's within your right if you really wanted to. Um, Chris, in the spirit of TCGS, this is asked by Grade A Man Beef. Boy, Twitch names, don't we love them? So in the spirit of TCGS, are there any bands / artists in other fields you want to highlight?
There's one band I've been really loving lately called Spouter.
Spouter.
Spowder. They're from Jersey. They're on a very small label that one of the members of Screaming Females recently started called
Cool.
State Champion Records. They put out some comedy cassette tapes that me and Connor and Lorelai Ramirez, Claire O'Kane were on. I think Brett Davis.
Mm.
They're a cool label. This band Spouter is so good, and they have a song called Pulp, and I can't stop listening to it lately.
Pulp is somebody link that we got music chat over in Discord.
Don't even know what that means.
Somebody leaked music chat. It's just a chat room, Chris. It's a chat room where people can talk about music.
I don't know.
You have your Spotify linked in Discord, and don't act like you don't. You're acting like you don't know
Well,
how
that's
to
true. I figured
set
out how to
things
do
up.
that. I
Yeah.
figured out how to do that. Yeah.
Let's see. CJ is CJ and CJ and Diego. I don't know. It's also blue and hard to read. They're asking, what's the deal with the CGP podcast? I think you said in Discord that it's coming to an end. Is that right? What update do you have there?
Yeah. So we're taping the final one on Thursday of this week. For now.
Yeah.
Basically, here's what's going on. It's just kind of boring behind the scenes stuff. Like, first of all, there's a producer at Earwolf named Harry Nelson who is great. And he's so great that he's been hired by Adam McKay's new company. So he's moving to Los Angeles. And Thursday's actually his last day on the job. And he's been such a huge part of the CGP podcast, particularly all those Planet Party Town, like highly produced pieces. He really actively is one of the people who makes those. So he's gone. That's a problem. And I don't really know how long the TV show is going to last. And if I signed a contract to do CGP, which is the only way we're going to get our own feed, which is necessary, I'd have to sign it for a year. And it would feel pretty depressing, I think, to do a podcast for a year if the TV show that is its sister show only lasts 6 months. Although it would be very on brand for me to be like, we canceled the TV show, but I'm contractually obligated to do the podcast about the TV show for 6 more months. So
let's loop this back around to say there's other stuff surrounding the community that people can enjoy. I think you leaked it on your email blast out that went out like an hour ago.
Yeah, that's not the best.
No, don't worry about that. That's not what this is about. I had a post-it note to let everybody know here on Twitch. TCGS watch-alongs is something that we're going to do in the near future. So keep a lookout on Chris's Twitter and the CGP social accounts for more information about TCGS watch-alongs, which we'll be doing here on Twitch and announcing ahead of time. CGP MNN everywhere, and join the Discord. You'll find out more information there. How about that for a plug?
I also want to say on the topic of the podcast, Earwolf's been super nice about it.
Yeah.
And, it got caught up in that contract stuff, so we couldn't get our own feed. And that was a bummer, but they actually, when I told them, I think we got to wrap it up if this is the state of things, they actually said, well, we'll put it on Stitcher Premium behind a paywall and we'll give you like X amount of money for it. It was very kind of them. But I said, you know what? No, I'd rather retain rights to the idea and the masters So we do have the ability to bring it somewhere else if we so choose. And I really would like to, just if for nothing else, I think Justin and Maya are just doing such funny stuff with those bits up top. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see it keep going, but we'll see if the TV show kind of catches and maybe bring it back to life.
Yeah. This Thursday, hop on Discord, because Discord gets the call to action when you're taking phone calls for the podcast. So join the Discord if you want to call into the podcast this week. Laughter Key, old Laughter Key, asking,
My favorite.
Chris, will you get a job on a train when you quit comedy?
I would love to be a train conductor. I would love to be on a New Jersey Transit train, maybe one of those smaller lines that like goes out through Morris County, the Boonton line. Being a ticket collector or someone who sells snacks on a train sounds to me like a very peaceful life. You don't have to deal with snake and rat ass comedians all day, every day.
Christopher. Christopher.
The absolute truth.
Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and attempt a Discord phone call. How about that?
Sure.
I'm gonna give the leg up to a Discord regular because they helped me out setting up this sound stuff. So I think it's only right that I bring in Thrill House on Discord. Let me see about this. Thrill House, are you there?
Oh shit!
Chris, can you hear Thrill House?
Yes. Hello, Thrill House.
Hey.
Thrill House, do you have a question for Chris?
Oh god, I did not think about this through. I'm so sorry.
There is a running thing happening with CGP where people call the show and it's like, hey, what do you want to talk about on the topic? And the person just goes, oh, no, I just wanted to be on the show. It happened to Carmen like 2 or 3 times in his most recent episode. That's fine, Thrill House. If you find nothing I'm saying of interest, it's fine. It's just nice to talk to you.
I'm getting some weird echo here. I just want to throw that out there because it's a little bit hard to listen to.
Oh,
but
boy.
I also wanted to say, what's your favorite thing about the Discord?
What's your favorite thing about the Discord, Chris?
I mean, I think in general, just that everybody's nice, and it feels like there's a core group of people that have all gotten to know each other, but it doesn't feel cliquey. Like back in the day, we used to have like a video chat room with TCGS, and I was very present on it in the beginning, and then, just the busyness of making the show, I had to step away. And I found that when I came back, it was very cliquey, and I actually heard some people had some like maybe negative interactions in there because of that. And it seems like the Discord is very, very kind and very inclusive, and when new people show up, they're really embraced. And I just really hope it keeps going in that direction, because I feel like most of my work, the point isn't to like make like, it's like this thing where it's like, let's just all become like this tribe of like losers and outliers who like strange stuff. So you don't want to take that to a point where you are the cool kids bullying others. Like you want it to. So, and that's not to talk bad about the people who used to hang out in there. It's just the nature of the beast sometimes.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Discord has such a stated goal of like inclusivity and positivity.
Yeah. Dave Cohen, actually, one of our moderators. I don't have it.
How's it Cohen?
How's it Cohen? I don't have it in front of me, but I saw that he said earlier about the importance of community in your work, just because of the history of that with TCGS, and your work has typically been sort of community driven. Dave asked a question earlier about what your approach to that is and how important you find communities for the comedy sphere.
Well, I'm going to be totally honest. You know that I'm totally honest. I've recently been explaining to my shrink Barb that I've come to find that a lot of comedians are snakes and rats who like to take more than they like to give. And she has told me that for years now she has thought that while it's very nice that I try to do community stuff, she's glad that I'm finally realizing that maybe I need to look out for myself a little bit more. So the truth, Dave, is that CGP is, I think, the last community I will build. After this, it's all about me. It's all about number one. It's about finding things I want to do and attacking them, because at the end of the day, you build all this stuff and people will eventually betray and abandon you. So that's what I've learned about communities amongst comedians. There's communities amongst other people, like jiu-jitsu, such a strong community, such a healthy one, very different than dealing with community. It's funny because jiu-jitsu's people who try to fight you and beat you up, but at least you're, in it together. It's such a strong sense of camaraderie where as far as comedy goes, it's just kind of like, if you're somebody who gives, you got to just be ready for others to take. And, there's snakes and rats. I think I've mentioned this.
I saw real quick, and everybody else did on screen. DP Snack said, "I love that Gethard is turning heel on comedy."
I'm the face. These snakes and rats are the heels. I'm Dusty Rhodes, and they're the four horsemen, except there's like 1,000 of them. There's 1,000 horsemen. That's the comedy community. And I'm Dusty Rhodes, baby. Who's American Dream, baby.
Who's your Sting then, baby? Who's bringing you in some backup against the horsemen?
Yeah, nobody's bringing this. Yeah, that's the problem. Where's my RoboCop? Remember that when the four horsemen had to fight RoboCop?
We recently had to shut down pro wrestling chat on the Discord just because it wasn't being used, and I just told everybody to post Shockmaster gifs. And so
Shockmaster is one of the funniest thing that has ever happened.
Yeah. Somebody, let's see, Franco the Third is saying Greg Gethard is Ric Flair. How is old Greg doing?
Greg's great. He just adopted a kid. The kid is beautiful and adorable, and he's doing really good. He's still doing his financial guru bit, which is nuts and hilarious. And I just did some shows in Philly at the Good Theater, which is one of the great spaces for comedy right now in the country. And Greg came and did about 10, 15 minutes of the guru bit.
Yeah. When I was in Philly, I really wanted to take his factually incorrect tour of Philly. But he wasn't doing it at the time. But that's a dream of mine.
Well, I do also want to point out that he was working for a tour company. He didn't put together a bit that was the factually inaccurate tour. Yeah. People paid money for an accurate tour, and he just chose to lie to them for the duration of the tour because he's the best.
Let's see. Everything's coming up. Thrill House. People are shouting out Thrill House. All right. Well, anything that we have coming up that people should be aware of in the CGP sphere? We got Chrissy Cello this week. Carmen Christopher's episode from last week. If you haven't checked it out, do so on YouTube. Best of the week of Thanksgiving, and then Monroe Martin the following week. Anything that you can tell the people about what to expect from Monroe Martin?
Monroe's episode, I was so happy when, I sent out an email blast to a whole bunch of comedians I love, and not just the Brooklyn kids, not just the alt kids, like a lot of the club people, because I'm in the clubs now too. And I think a lot of the people maybe from the TCGS CGP world don't realize that, but Greg Stone and Anthony DeVito came in, did Iron Man 5. Like, I know those guys through the clubs, and then they did probably the most TCGS feeling episode. Monroe got back to me with an idea I thought was so beautiful. It's going to be a pre-taped episode. A lot of it's going to revolve around his experience in the foster care system and other comedians who he knows who came up in foster care. So we had to delay it once because we didn't want to rush it. We really wanted to get something like that right. So I think they filmed half of it. They're filming the other half tomorrow. I think it could be so cool, but it's the exact type of thing that I'm like, yeah, that's an idea that's going to be, the mainstream is going to be scared of it. You go pitch that in a room to a network, they're going to be nervous. So come make it here and show how awesome it is and show that can be funny and not grim or both at once. And as far as what else is coming up, Meg Stalter was on the CGP complaint box. She's taking over New York right now. Her and Richie Owens are hosting on the 22nd. Annie Donnelly, Sam Taggart, Max Witter, Klon 4, Nick Nanny, who's in Enchanted Pumice. He's coming back with Sebastian Dintali. Enchanted Pumice 2 after that. Diana Kolsky, who many TCGS fans might remember, is doing her own episode, and the idea is wild. And then Matt Baratz and Anthony Oberbeck, who have killed it twice on twice on Carmen's episodes. They're doing their own episode. That's one thing that I really was hoping would happen, is people would come in and kill it. They get their own, and that's starting to become another phase. And then tell you too, in the middle of April, we're doing one that I'm very proud of. There's a comedian named Andrew Fisher who's really funny, happens to be deaf, and he's going to come in and do an episode. And that's another one that, at the end of the day, I have much less of a chip on my shoulder than I used to. But some of these ideas, like Monroe's idea about foster care, letting Andrew hum in a whole hour, I'm like, there are just certain topics and certain people who get boxed out in entertainment, and I'm not down with that, you know, so opening the door for everybody who can.
Yeah, using the platform to get some voices out that you otherwise probably wouldn't have heard. I've got the perfect final question. Before I get to it, is there anything else that you want to tell the people?
Just in general?
Yeah, whatever you want. I mean, within limits. I'll start reining you in if you start getting too
Right.
unruly.
I mean, I won't say the phrase snakes and rats again, I promise. I've said it enough. My point is
Thank you.
I don't know. I just appreciate the support. I feel like everybody who's showing up here is clearly someone who's willing to take a chance and dive in on this new show. Any and all spreading of word helps so much. I feel like one of the old phrases that we used to toss around the UCB theater was word of mouth is the best advertising. So if you are enjoying this and you got friends in your life who you think might catch on or might find it good, like now's the time to start telling them, you know. And you don't need to be like, I'm not asking for people to be evangelists or to be like missionaries banging down doors, but just if you got people in your life where you're like, you know, there's this thing and it's funny, you might like it, check it out. Like it's time, you know, and I'm certainly doing that in my life and whatnot. Another thing I'll say that's just weird to me because it's a very strong community. And I think such a giving and open community, I think a progressive community. But one thing I've noticed, and I don't know if this might be a faux pas to bring it up, but both with views and ticket requests, when we have female hosts, those things are lower. And I don't love that feeling. So I really hope that we can rally around some of the amazing stuff that like those hosts are doing because there's been some great stuff. And it just, again, speaks to the dark side of comedy and the culture surrounding it.
Yeah.
I think they've been doing absolutely crushing it, but it seems like the most uphill climb and it's just not, doesn't make much sense. And I don't think it's cool. And again, I feel like it's something that's on me to figure out why that is and how I can correct it.
Well, if there's anybody within the New York area when it comes to tickets or folks, you know, seeking out the show online, at the very least, what we're hoping that we're pulling off is that you're curating what's going to be a solid hour of entertainment in a wide world where people have many options. We're something wildly different. And regardless of who the host is, the platform and the opportunity that we present, it's worth checking out. We don't put people in front of viewers that aren't worth their time, you know? We're not putting on sleeper acts. These are all people that are just killing it.
I'd like to think so. They're all people that I personally have seen crush somewhere in New York, or else they wouldn't be invited.
Yeah.
My goal has always been to start with that wave of people that I know are killers, and then be able to take chances more and more on people who I don't know as well, just based on their ideas. I always wanted to make it some people who maybe didn't even live in New York, but I just feel like since we're still kind of like fighting and clawing for the show to catch on, that it's not totally fair to them yet. I think it wouldn't be fair. Because I've also noticed, too, the closer people are to TCGS, the more hype they get, right? When Riley and Connor host episodes, it's just an easier sell. But, yeah, I mean, and if you're watching this and you're in New York right now and you are equally weirded out about what I said about the female host, I'd say come this week because Christy deserves the support. And it's cool. So if you're on the fence, like, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. Like, now's the time.
And it's going to be a good show. And it's just flat out going to be a good show.
Yeah, she has so many good people on it. But one I'd like to just point, PDD Abreu is so funny, and he's been around New York forever. And he recently, the past few months, I feel like everybody's talking about him more and more. And he's just such a genuinely funny person. And I can't wait to have him on the show.
Coming up is Sandwich Night, December 4th. I haven't told you yet, Chris, but Sky Daddy himself, David Ray Martinez, joined Discord a couple days ago.
Yes, I saw that. And did Bardia join? Bardia joined as well.
Yeah, Bardia did join. So David Ray Martinez.
Good night, Hallie. I love you.
Good night, Hallie. Everybody say good night, Hallie, in the chat.
1 second, Bryson.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Sounds good. I love you too.
What a tender moment. Well, I was just saying, David Ray Martinez joined Discord a couple days ago, and with Sandwich Night coming up, Discord definitely let him know that date was a date that he should show up to M&N Studios in his Sky Daddy outfit if he still has it.
He is wild. I did not know him before Chrissy's episode.
Yeah.
I was so happy when Carmen brought him back. That guy is wild, man. He's a fun presence and a fun energy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. A couple other things before we close this thing out.
Why are we closing it out? I thought we were just getting started.
We're just getting started? Boy, I was going to...
So?
You want to keep going, Chris? I'll keep going.
I mean, Hallie's going to bed. I mean, I do have to do the dishes after we're done.
Oh, boy.
So
Okay.
I don't wanna be up too late.
Well, then... I'll go to my question that I intended as the last question, but we'll blow through these if people have more questions. Dinosaur Laser Farm asked, "What are your thoughts on dinosaurs and what are your thoughts on lasers?"
I mean, I think your username is amazing. Dinosaurs are incredible. Always have been, always will be. When I was a kid, my favorite dinosaur was the Ankylosaurus.
Mm-hmm.
I think lasers are cool too. And in Lake George, New York, there's an arcade that has like a game where it's like a room full of lasers and you gotta like kind of Mission Impossible it and get through all the lasers. And I'm not good at it, but my wife is incredible at it.
Yeah.
Incredible. She crushes that laser maze game.
And then let's see. Somebody was asking, Green Chili 27 asked, "What's your favorite Weezer song?" Weezer comes up a lot in this community.
Yeah, very interesting. It's probably You Gave Your Love to Me Softly.
You gave your love to me softly. All right, Jess Klon.
You gave your love to me softly.
Somebody clip that. We'll use that as a sound effect on all future streams. Jess Klon, one of our moderators, she's putting together a Klonzine. If you want more information on that, go to our Discord. There's a bunch of information in our fan art section.
Does Riley know about this?
Riley knows about it and is participating. Like
good.
Multiple ways, I think Riley is participating in it. Laughter Keyed, again, just saying Enchanted Pumice is hands down one of the best things on TV I've seen.
I think so. Mary's great. Mary's been great for years.
Let's see. Dinosaur Laser Farm again, asking toenails, for or against?
Well, I'm for him, but you got to keep him filed down because being a guy who does jiu-jitsu, you can get cut bad by people with unregulated toenails.
You've been cut? You've been cut before?
Everybody's been cut by an errant toenail.
Yeah. Is that on the like the calf? What are we talking about? What's the most likely toenail scratch?
It can happen anywhere, man. You're in the middle of one of those scrambles. It can happen anywhere.
Let's try another Discord call because Thrill House let us know that the person just needs to mute their Twitch. So let's give it another try.
Thrill House.
Isaac, last name, we're bringing you on. Isaac, can you hear us?
I can't.
You can. Isaac, if you have Twitch open, we're going to need you to either mute it or close it while we're on the phone here.
Okay, cool.
All right. Isaac, Isaac, last name, do you have a question for Chris? Oh, boy.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, what is your favorite rap album?
What's your favorite rap album?
All time, Illmatic by Nas.
Illmatic by Nas. Any follow-ups, Isaac?
That was really my main question. But
Thank you so much, Isaac. And thanks for being such a big part of that Discord.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Everybody leak these links in music chat. We'll get a lot of people on the Discord asking about doing like Planet Scum playlists. I fully support anybody putting together Planet Scum playlists if you need anything. I'm going to bring on Natalie Portbuns. Natalie Portbuns, you're coming on. Natalie, can you hear us? Oh, nope, we lost Natalie. I'm going to bring on Emily Pineapple. Emily, are you there? Oh boy, Chris. I knew if I screwed this up, you were going to give me shit for it forever.
Let's just get back to the text questions, Bryson.
Okay. All right. A lot of people saying good night, Hallie. Uh,
I saw Purple Hat asked a question that I'd love to deal with if that's okay.
Yeah, what did Purple Hat ask?
You introduced me to Christy at the Catalina Cruise benefit. She was amazing. I was introduced to her and Martin that night. Was that day integral in the development of CGP? It was. It's actually where I had the initial, something that I'd been trying to formulate an idea in my mind for a while. But that show, I think, featured Josh Sharp, Christy, Martin, and Carmen, as well as Anna Fabrega. But I had all those people at this benefit for Catalina Cruz, who's now my New York State Assembly member. I believe she's the first dreamer elected to public office in New York.
Awesome.
She's real cool. And I really liked what she was selling. So we organized this benefit. We raised, I think, like $4,000 for her campaign. I brought all those guys out, and I was just in that room, and I was like, these people are all killers. And I think they're all underrated. So that really got my gears turning. And then we wound up having a meeting that I always called the pizza meeting. We went to this pizza place in Williamsburg, and who was there? It was me, Jersey Dave, Kate Sweeney, Keith Haskell, Riley,
Joe Rumroll, I believe.
Joe Rumrill, Rachel Pegram, Martin, Claire O'Kane, Christy, Carmen. I think that was it. And I was just like, I just want to build this thing.
And that's I was just going to say that's an early photo on the Instagram was when you guys had the pizza dinner.
Yeah, and that pizza meeting was just me like, hey, so I really got a lot out of public access. I found it to be pure freedom, and I think we really forced the issue, and I think that there's an infrastructure there. And I think all of you guys kind of in different ways get what we were going for and reflect it. So, that is a thing that I think I'm personally mad at myself about, which is I really felt like I was going to be able to kind of pick up not far from where we left off with the Gethard show, but we have to rebuild it from square one. And that is tough, man. That is tough, but it's also, I think, fair. And it's also a good challenge.
And admittedly, I know we've said it a couple of times as far as the community that we do have existing, that like this is already its own leg up from like when TCGS started, right? Like
the infrastructure is just there. I mean, between everything you've built with all the delivery mechanisms online and the community online, and then the way Dave has assembled a crew and the way the crew steps up, and they have so much fun taking it as a challenge. Like this one makes me smile so hard. So with Enchanted Pumice, we wound up building like 4 or 5 modular sets, kind of like SNL, how we ran sets in and out. Mm-hmm. Also had a green screen in a different studio. We connected the 2 studios. And Mary, after the episode, said to me, like, she goes, I just kept putting all this stuff out there waiting for your crew to be like, no, we can't do that. And they just never did. And I just think the crew is there. The infrastructure is there. It feels like we have a similar mentality of being in the trenches with comedy, but just much more of a handle on how to actually do this.
And you alluded to it before, but like we stand upon like years of like what TCGS built, and then also what the special built, because like Nick and Janzo, like you were saying before, Olivia, like everybody from the special that has stayed on to do CGP, that is, you've mentioned it before, like if you ever thought that the special looked amazing, that crew is why we look amazing.
We stole many of the special crew members, because I tell you with TCGS, like a lot of us watched the special, and right from the start, the music performances on the special, we were like, these look so much cooler than anything we ever pulled off. So we just, like, anybody who contributed to that, we stole them outright, kept it going.
Yeah. Dave Cohen asking about the ambulance report. I'm assuming everybody could hear the ambulance that just drove past my place a little bit ago.
Yeah, that was all you, dog.
Some people were asking about if you could talk a little bit about National Lampoon's Radio Hour. We saw photos of you recording with them. How was that?
It was cool, man. It was really cool and funny. And Firestone wrote a bit that was just absolutely designed for me to just have a meltdown, an improvised meltdown, which is really fun. I take a lot of pride. I always want to be clear that when I talk about artists that I've worked with and that I've maybe helped, I don't want to say mentor, but that I've maybe just like looked out for, where I started a little earlier than them. I take no credit for those people's success ever. Just
Yeah.
happy to be along for the ride. But it gives me no small amount of joy. If you look at the cast of the National Lampoon Radio Hour, every single one of them has either written for or appeared on Gethard Show or CGP. Every single one. Alex English was the only person who hadn't worked with me on some level via one of those shows, and then Alex was on a recent episode. So
Yeah.
it was really, it's so cool. It's just so cool. Everybody. Cole acted on our show. Joe wrote for our show. Martin's hosted CGP. Rachel's hosted CGP. You go down the list. Meg Stalter's been on. Yeah.
And you've pitched before, so first of all, National Lampoon Radio Hour, for anybody watching, if you don't already know, it's December 19th, I think, is their launch date. So I think they have like a trailer that's up right now or soon, and their official launch is December 19th. Meg Stalter, we've talked about her before, but you've highly pitched her show, the Meg Stalter Show, as a TCGS. If you want those feels, this is somebody else doing their own bizarre thing. So check that out online if anybody hasn't already.
Yeah, it's really funny. And Meg comes from a scene in Chicago where a lot of them worked at a place called The Hideout that I just played.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it was spearheaded by a show called Helltrap Nightmare that Sarah Squirm ran. Still runs in LA. And I just met Sarah in person for the first time after many years of following her online. And she said that when she was in high school, she used to watch TCGS all the time. She said she applied to intern with us like 7 times. And it's very flattering to realize that there were some young comedians who actually watched the thing.
Yeah.
And that they're making some wild stuff too. It's everything I was hoping for.
And Helltrap Nightmare, for anybody that hasn't sought it out before, wild.
Really disgusting.
Sarah is the one thing that I can say about Sarah that I absolutely love is just a very intentional and like through line look, you know, like she has a style that is unquestionable, and you know immediately when you see it that that's hers, you know.
Yes.
We had where did it go? Blue Dirty asked, have you been watching AEW?
I've only been watching the clips. I don't have cable. Here's the secret about me. I've not had cable in many, many years. So that was one of the things when we got canceled from cable. I was like, I don't even have cable. So I can't be that mad. Like, it's not even a system that I pay for. So, of course, people like me, it makes sense we didn't subscribe on cable. But I watched a ton of clips. I love the Cody Rhodes promo from AEW.
Yeah.
Jericho, I think, is like really doing some cool stuff. And I like everything I've seen from AEW.
Yeah. I just want to say Everything Now show hosted us. Thank you, Everything Now show. Just want to point that out.
That's awesome.
Let's see here. Sarah Scrum. Chris, do you want to come promote CGP at Google NYC by Ravenite?
Yeah, sure. That would be awesome.
All right, Ravenite. I believe you're in the Discord. We'll get you in contact if that's a thing. Let's see. Free ebook said Chris said he was quitting comedy, but Mal Bloom said that they were going to do stand-up so they can take his place. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Mal's funnier than I am anyway. I got other comedians on their podcast talking about how unfunny I am, these snakes and rats, and nobody defending me on it. So yeah, Mal's funnier than I am anyway. Mal can take over. And that's someone asking if I quit comedy, what am I going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move to someplace where people aren't as mean as they are in New York City. I'm going to build a podcasting studio in my basement and be beautiful anonymous, and I'm going to be very happy.
You promised me no more snakes and rats talk.
Sorry.
DC Ferris asking favorite Ergs deep cut.
Jazz is like the new Coke? Is that the name of it? Or Jazz is the new Coke?
Jazz is
It's the one that goes, but he's the one you'll be making out with every night. I wonder if you two are making out all right. I bet everything I had against it now. I'll make out the check when I get home.
Snakes. I'm realizing now That was lovely, Chris.
Thank you so much.
But I'm realizing now that Snakes and Rats is immediately going to become a bit in Discord that I won't be able to contain.
Good. It's my new ethos. It's my new ethos.
Somebody, I missed the first half of this, but somebody was mentioning like D&D. I don't know if they were talking about like stuff that we're gonna do on here. I'll say that if Chris is available, I have already pitched you in Discord publicly plenty of weird batshit ideas that we can do over here. I think schedules permitting and bandwidth permitting, if we can pull them off, we'd love to.
Yeah, I'll do whatever.
We talked about a pro wrestling D&D that I would love for you and Greg Gethard to do.
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this. There is a whole world of fantasy wrestling e-fetting.
Oh yeah.
My brother is like a legend in that world. We had started doing it when we were on the Prodigy Network, which I think maybe closed before many of the people in this chat were of age to even understand.
To internet?
Yeah, to internet. Yeah. And I was probably in 6th or 7th grade and we started e-fetting, and then I quit doing it like in high school. And then like 10 years later, I found out my brother had been doing it the whole time. He's one of the best there's ever been.
No, this is absolutely why I pitched this.
Good.
I knew about the Greg Gethard backstory. This would just be him having to like collaborate on that because we would be doing it in like, you know, a group of us. But I know that he would be an absolute madman that would make me really have to grind my gears and have shit prepared for you guys.
Yeah. Speaking of role playing, I have seen someone asking about the Glandon Oakfoot episode of Beautiful Anonymous where we played D&D on there, and we just recorded we're doing like the Beautiful follow-up series right now.
Yeah.
We just recorded another episode of the Glandon Oakfoot saga.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it was so epic because it was so funny. Jared planned it out where every step of the mission or the quest on that day, we would run into another prior caller from BA. So I don't want to spoil who they are, but there's like, I think 8 or 9 prior callers who we meet up with in this fantasy world. And it's pretty fun.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. A Beautiful Anonymous. If you join Planet Scum, we just started up a Beautiful Anonymous chat room in there too, so that the Beautiful Anonymous fans could talk about the show. And we have a Gethard bot that hopefully will post episodes in there automatically.
Beautiful.
Mr. Elephant's asking, can you do karaoke night? I don't know if that was a Twitch suggestion. Chris, are you a karaoke dude? What's your go-to karaoke?
I like karaoke a lot. I think we're actually going to end one of the nights of the Beautiful Con in May with a big, giant karaoke blowout.
Oh, cool.
My go-to songs, I like Just What I Needed by the Cars. I like Hey Jealousy by the Gin Blossoms because it sounds kind of punky, but everybody knows the words.
Yeah.
And then I always think it's funny to do Hurt by 9 Inch Nails if I just want to bring the room down. You get up there right in the middle of a bunch of energetic songs, yeah.
Weirdly related, the only reason that I would have to end this stream tonight is because Tuesday is my regular karaoke night. And I got to get to that, baby.
What's your song?
I started doing, have you heard of Puddle's Pity Party, the like sad clown?
Yes. Fascinating artist.
So he does a cover of Come Sail Away by Styx, and in the middle of it he sings Let It Go from Frozen.
Ooh.
And so I'll just sing Come Sail Away, and then it goes to like a 36 measure break, and you just look like an asshole at the karaoke stage. But then in the middle of it, I start singing Let It Go, and it kills every time.
What time's your karaoke night start?
In like 30 minutes, I gotta go.
Hey, get out of here. LA, it takes 90 minutes to get anywhere.
Oh, it's around the corner, my dude.
You walk?
I don't walk, but I could, and you're gonna get mad at me for that.
Nobody in LA walks. If you walk half a block in LA, everyone thinks you're an insane person.
No, I know. Listen, and I live right next to the metro too. I have no excuse, but it's nicer to drive there.
God, man, everybody drives out there.
Don't blame me.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just constantly fascinated by it.
A while back, somebody mentioned the fact that you have mentioned that you're working on a screenplay. Any details you got there for the folks?
There's nothing I'm allowed to reveal yet. I'll say it is not, I'm happy to say it's not a situation where I'm just like writing it to write it. Like it's actually something that people have had some interest in. And
don't leak too much, Chris.
I can't leak too much, but I'm, someone has championed me very hard and is helping to shepherd this one too. And in typical fashion, I'm really, really hoping that I can convince the powers that be, should it ever get made, which is highly unlikely, to let some of my friends actually be the stars instead of it's a celebrity obsessed culture. I kind of want to try to create like, kind of an extension of CGP of like, this is the new National Lampoon Radio Hour. This is the new SCTV. This is the new Freaks and Geeks. Like, here's the next wave of people you haven't heard about.
Yeah.
And it ties into some of my past jobs from way back in the day. And I'm proud of it. These things rarely get made, but we'll see.
Isaac, last name, speculating that it's Iron Man 6 that you're writing.
Well, no spoilers, but I've been in touch with Greg and Anthony about how many Iron Mans they would like to write.
What did they say?
They're into it. But they said, we'd love to do that. We've already talked about Iron Man 6. And then Greg wrote back an email where he pitched me another idea that is borderline nonsensical. But so funny. So I got to see. I'm going to make sure those guys have another episode before we end. I got to see which one they want to do. It's up to them.
Yeah. Mr. Elephant's asking, no Wonderwall for your karaoke choices.
Yeah, no, it's a great song, but it's just not my, it's not, we can't just spend this whole time naming other songs you like and asking why they're not my go-to song.
People asking for voice chat karaoke over in Discord. I will tell you that will not happen. People sing each other happy birthday in voice chat and everyone hates it.
Okay, fair. I notice Mary keeps asking how the documentary's going.
Oh, and yeah, I was gonna get to that.
Yeah, I did. I filmed I think like 10 shows. I was really happy with them. I'm doing it all on spec. I want to make a special that doesn't look like a special. I want it to look like the decline of Western civilization, like an old music documentary. I was really, really happy with the shows and how they went. And now I have to sit down and watch a lot of the footage to pick the parts I like best. And Kate Sweeney has been like crushing it, directing it, producing it. And
these were the Jersey specials, right?
No, the Jersey album is going to come out. We're announcing that. I don't know if we're announcing. We might be dropping that as a secret, but that'll be out sometime in December.
Cool.
But I filmed shows in Woodstock, Buffalo, Brooklyn, Asbury Park, Philly, Baltimore, Richmond, and Chicago.
Yeah.
And we're going to piece it all together where I want every bit to be in a different city because I want to make a special. I think it's so funny. Everybody does their specials in like arenas or giant, like beautiful venues. And in my experience, comedy is more like hanging out in filthy green rooms and like driving forever and dealing with people who are very questionable. And I wanted to kind of just make something that shows that side of it in a very real way. I thought that would be interesting for people. So
yeah.
Filmed it, got to edit it, but I mean, it's wild. We got footage. I got stiffed by the promoter in Richmond, and we have footage of me in a parking lot, furiously screaming into the camera, like, "I got a son! I got a son!" I lost money on the show. I actually lost money on the show between like the transportation, getting people hotel rooms,
because
Carmen's
of the booker?
fee. The guy stiffed me, man, and there's footage of me like these motherfucking snakes. I've been doing this for 20 years so some asshole scumbag can rip me off. I was like, I got a son at home. I got a 5-month-old son. I can't be losing money. I can't be losing this kid's college fund because this scumbag. Like, and I think that footage needs to go in. That might need to be what starts the documentary.
You think that you could get around our agreement by just saying snakes and not rats, but I'm on to you, my dude.
I cut rats because I did yell snakes and rats in the parking lot. This is what I'm saying, man. 20 years in.
Yeah.
And I'm still dealing with stuff like this. These rats.
You can't say them separately and get away with it, man.
It's true.
Somebody
It's
asking
true.
about. It was Mary asking about Robbie Hoffman's if she's going to take over Chris Gethard Presents. I did have up here. This was one of my things that I was going to do in like an outro, but I have down here December 6th. If you're in the Los Angeles area, the Chris Gethard show with Robbie Hoffman will be at the Lyric Hyperion Theater and Cafe. Tickets are $8. Robbie's
Rob
social media is where you get tickets.
Robbie is a crazy person in the best way. I will say the first one we did a bit that I didn't know about. I did know about it. Robbie was like, "Can I do this?" I will say this one that she just announced, literally saw the plugs, had no idea she was doing it again. So more power to her. I think you were at the last one, and
The one in LA. Yeah.
I know that a couple people told me that there was one guy who showed up thinking it was actually the Gethard show, and I did feel really bad about that. We got Carmen Christopher in the Twitch right now.
I was just about to call it out. Old Carmen Christopher coming in. Okay, I'm here to answer honestly. Chris is a fraud, is what Carmen just said in the chat.
I'm going to tell you, you want to talk about road stories.
Yeah.
Here's something Carmen and I are dealing with right now, and Carmen can vouch for this. First place Carmen and I went on the road together when we started touring, St. Louis. We're at this club. It's in the basement of a mall. It's not great. Shows are not... Carmen was like psyched, and I was psyched with how the shows went, but the crowds weren't there. I was like, other cities, I will do better. Anyway, there's this guy very often in comedy clubs. There's like somebody who's assigned to drive you to and from the shows on behalf of the club. And this guy was like, we got to chill. We got to hang out. We got to go to bars. We got to go to clubs. Carmen was like, I'm on the road for the first time. Let's do it, you know? And I was like, just kind of like, as a rule, man, like, probably don't be hanging out with this. Like, if this guy wants to hang out this much, like something's going on. And Carmen hung out with him, and it was like an epic tale. I won't put words in Carmen's mouth, but then we just got a link sent to us by someone from St. Louis who hosted the shows. This guy just got arrested for attempted murder. I'm like, see, Carmen, you should not have been hanging out with that dude. I knew it, man.
I'm just laughing over the fact that I believe 5 messages were deleted that Carmen just posted in chat by our auto moderators.
Good. Carmen's out here shouting and cursing.
I'm sorry, Carmen, that's happening to you. It's likely that you're using all caps. Whatever you said, I'm sure it was very good. But boy, are our auto moderators shutting down Carmen.
Carmen saying he didn't hang with him. Carmen, we both know you went to that club with that guy. It's funny, but that's the thing with the documentary that Mary mentioned is like, and Carmen was there for all the tapings. Like, I want to show the side of comedy where like you deal with a guy who's a murderer. Like, I want to deal because that happens. Stuff like that happens.
Carmen saying he followed me and scared away my Tinder date.
Oh, very true. That is very true. To be more fair, you were on a Tinder date and kind of needed a ride from the guy. That's not totally hanging out. That is my bad. Either way, Carmen, you know that was an epic night.
Boy, I love that Carmen's taken this over. Come at it, Carmen. Carmen, if you're watching this, go on to Discord because I'll bring you in on a voice chat so that you can just shout at Chris.
Can we include him in the Google Hangout to get him in here?
I don't have it set up that way, but I can get him in on Discord. If he goes to Discord right now, he can go into the call queue and I'll add him. And he can he can pop off if he really wants to. Yeah,
Carm, I don't know how many details you want me to give, but he brought you to a place that when you got there you realized was actually truly dangerous. Yeah, East St. Louis. I wasn't sure if you want to say it. He drove you from St. Louis to East St. Louis, which is notoriously a dangerous place.
Carmen, Carmen's asking, how do I do that? Carmen, if you go into Discord, which I know you've been into before, our people over there will help you out. They'll set you up. I'm sure everybody in the Discord chat will happily give you the step-by-step process on how to get into the thing. It shouldn't be that hard. Never go to a secondary location.
Somebody's asking if we're going to have Dale Seaver on the new show, and I'll say I've known Dale Seaver character has been around for a while, and I think he's great. And I loved that they had that whole storyline on the special. I thought it was so funny. I'm not sure Dale hasn't reached out about CGP. And like I said, we're pretty locked in from now through April.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's so funny on the special. So funny.
Okay, I'm hoping that Carmen gets in there. Jesus. Follow. Okay, yeah.
Already yawn. I'm still having a lot of fun. It's just that I have a kid, so I'm tired all the time.
Listen, I'm tired too, man.
I hear you.
All right. Yeah, another reason we need to get more viewers, Isaac. I don't know what that's in relation to, but I got you, baby. All right. Who's your favorite? Yeah, who's your favorite Practical
I just saw
Joker?
that one. Sal. I love Sal. I mean, all those guys are really nice, but me and Sal have actually been friends for 10 years at this point. And
Yeah.
if you watch the early Gethard show, there's often a crew that shows up dressed as a bunny, a robot, and a Winnie the Pooh. The bunny is Jay Miller. The Pooh is Tim Duffy. He's a very funny comic. And the robot is actually Sal Vulcano.
Yeah. Let's see. The Joker's cruise from way back when Riley was entirely in character. Riley recently in the Discord mentioned that was not that his involvement was not official whatsoever. Like,
Yeah. So I got asked to do the cruise, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I've never really wanted to go on a cruise. Performing on a cruise, like some comedians, it has a stigma. But I was like, I like the Jokers. They're really nice to me. Sal's an old friend. It might be really fun. It was the first place where I realized how much of a following they have.
yeah.
Um, but part of why I said I would do it was they were like, you're going to have a cabin. So if you want to bring Hallie, and I was like, oh, this is kind of a free vacation. Hallie and I get to go. So I say yes. Hallie's into it. And then turns out she looked at her schedule. She's like, well, actually, I can't go. So they were like, well, we already set aside another pass for you. Is there anyone else you want to bring? I was like, let's bring Vacation Jason. And then Riley, because he's
A madman.
a madman who commits and he came up in the world of clowning where you commit. He stayed in character the whole time. And I'm telling you, outside of the Impractical Jokers, he was the most popular person on that cruise. We hosted bingo together, and it was all these people. It was like 400 people. And he kept going on these rants about how capitalism was evil. He's like, you money-hungry gamblers, capitalism. And they were cheering for him. And then my favorite was at the end of the bingo, and he goes, if any of you see me on this boat, you ask me to teach you a yoga move, I'll stop whatever I'm doing and do it. And then I would walk around and see him constantly on the floor
Doing yoga moves.
teaching people fake yoga moves. It was wild. It was wild.
Chris, before the man calls me a coward, I need to bring in Carmen Christopher.
Let's do it, man. My
shit,
favorite person.
you.
Carmen, you can hear us.
Yeah. Yo, that
Can
was
I
hard.
actually? I also want to say I've been saying that all comedians are snakes and rats, but today to a therapist, I said Carmen is one of the only people I trust in comedy. I did say that.
Wow, that's too much pressure. I don't want that. Don't tell people that.
Fine.
Carmen, what do you got going on? What have we said anything that has disparaged you? Are you offended by anything that has been covered in tonight's Q&A?
I kind of just hopped on. I saw Chris was popping off on here, so I wanted to kind of steal some of that shine and just let people know that he's a fraud and he shouldn't trust me because he's out here putting me on blast about this St. Louis trip. I was not hanging.
You hung out with that guy. Dude, the guy asked us like 55 times to hang out. I was like, dude, don't do it. And then you got in a car with the guy. You knew he wanted to hang out. That means you're hanging out.
Okay, let me say this. My first weekend ever doing club. I'm jacked up. I'm so excited. I'm like, this is the road life. I'm about to do these shows, and I'm about to go out afterwards and have a good time. And now, my guard's completely down. Probably in the wrong city to do this, in St. Louis. And, this guy, he doesn't fucking leave us alone. He's like
2 minutes
following us everywhere. He straight up like asked us like we were going out. He's like, where are you guys going? Where are you guys going? Like 10 times. He's like, he straight up just asked, can I come with? And I don't have the heart to tell somebody no. I didn't know at this time that he was an attempted murderer. Okay. It seemed like somebody who was lonely, and I took him in, and it was a huge mistake. This dude, he takes us to. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. So I just want to make sure he takes us. First of all, I meet this. This was like 2 years ago now, right? Like a year and a half. Like,
yeah.
It was almost like 2 years ago now, and so, this is when I used to be on the apps. I'm not on the apps anymore. anymore. I don't mess with them. But anyway, meet this girl on Tinder, and she was nice, and she brought her friends. They were all really nice. They were great.
Mhm.
And he straight up like scared. Like everyone was having a good time, and he was just like being extra creepy, and he scared them away. And that was a bad sign. That's when I should have went home. But what happened was, I was like, "Hey, is there anywhere else to go? I could do like, one more drink before I go." And he's like, "Yeah, man, there's like a great place. This place, and you just gotta trust me. You gotta trust me." And I was like, "No, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna go home." He's like, "You gotta trust me, man. Just
It had some
this
crazy
place is
name,
amazing."
right?
What was the name?
What's up?
It had some crazy name, like
I could
Primos
look
or
it up.
something.
I
I'll
have a
look it up.
feeling if you looked up,
After Hours Club, East St. Louis.
if you looked up like most dangerous club in the country, it might
Oh,
pop
was it
up.
Pops? Was it Pops?
Yes, it was Pops. It was Pops.
Pops nightclub. Yeah.
No
like
disrespect
all
to
night.
anybody who goes to Pops regularly, but
But
that
you're-
night in particular,
You're right. Everywhere
was-
we went, we were like, let's go grab a slice of pizza. He's like, oh, we could go to Pops. We got to go to Pops. It's like, oh, here's a bar. Let's go grab a drink. He's like, why would we grab a drink there when we could get in the car and go to Pops? Over and over and over again.
yeah. But so then we go there, and actually, right when he got there, I was like, "Yo, I don't think I even want to go in. I think I'm just gonna Uber home." He's like, "You gotta trust me. You gotta trust me." And then there was a cover, and I was like, "I'm not going in." I walked away. He's like, "Come on, I'll pay for it." Oh, there was another guy with him. There was another dude that worked at the
Which-
comedy club.
Oh, that silent guy. He didn't speak the whole night.
Was he
He
in the
didn't say a
car?
word.
He was actually really nice.
Yeah.
He was cool.
yeah.
And so I was like, if he's staying, fine, I'll stay. You know what I mean? And then we walk in there, and like 2 minutes in, I was like, I gotta go. I don't know if I should tell this next part of the story, but I think you know what I'm talking about, Chris.
I do. I am well aware of what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm just gonna tell it because it happened. This dude comes up to me. I'm standing by the bar alone. I'm trying to stay as far away from this guy.
You had
as
just walked
possible.
in.
Just walked in, trying to stay away from him. He's like trying to like grind on people. He's older too, and I was like, this is so weird. I just want to go home. He's like, give it 10 minutes, blah blah. And I like kind of make my way in space around, and I'm standing by myself because I don't want to be by them. And some dude comes up to me, and he's like, hey, do you see that girl over there? He points to a girl at a table with like two of his friends. He's in the bathroom, and she'll give you some sort of oral pleasure for $10. That's not what he said. I'm being PC here. I don't want to get kicked off Twitch. And I said, I'm good, buddy. No, thank you. Like, have a good night. And he goes, what are you, stupid? and then he walks over to the table with them all. They all look at me and just start laughing. And like the type of music they were playing at the club was like Nelly Tip Drill, like early 2000s like,
Yes.
hip hop. Like everybody
Yes.
kind of had like on baggy jerseys, flat brim hats. I definitely stood out. Like I definitely didn't look like I should have been there. But there's people in there having a good time, and I respect those people. But there were some bad people in there too.
It was what? So, you came back and you were like shook.
Yeah, I was like, this is bad. I think I hit up my buddy. We hit up Gary afterwards, and I was like, dude, have you heard of this place in East St. Louis? Because he's from St. Louis. And he was just straight up like, yeah, dude, you don't go there. You basically have to cross the Illinois border to get there.
Carmen, am I right in remembering, did we take lifts to the rest of the gig so we wouldn't have to be around the guy, or am I just making that part up?
I'm pretty sure the next day that sounds about right. And it seemed like, because that was like the night. That wasn't the last night, right? There was still another night after that, because I was like, yo, we got to stay away from this dude. And we kind of avoided him the whole next day.
And then he texted me like a year later, and I was like, what? Like, I don't even know.
What's he texting you a year later?
Texted me, he's like, hey, man, just so you know, I'm not working with the club anymore. And I was like,
cool.
Sorry, man. And then next thing we know, article pops up. This dude is arrested for trying to kill somebody.
And there was a moment in the car, I remember when he was driving me home when he's like, I got a kid. I was like, you got a kid? What are you doing going to this club? And then he was like, yeah, I gotta. He's like, I don't, he didn't seem like the best dad, but he was, he's like, I got a girlfriend too. I was like, oh, that's nice. And he's like, nah, I don't really like her. And I was like, well, then why don't you break up with her? Why are you in this relationship? And it kind of got to a weird place. And
how did this guy monopolize so much of your guys' time?
Because Carmen let him. Carmen learned a very good. You learned a road lesson that day, which was anybody who works at the club who's really eager about hanging out, like there's something.
Yeah. Well, I learned that also in Austin when I learned that in a few places. I was just so excited to be on the road, and then it was like I was attracting the wrong people. But then again, I didn't really do it. Like, I don't know what happened. You know what? I'm alive.
Austin, you straight up met some. Austin, you met someone who came to the show, and then the next day you went on their boat with them.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, our Discord is, by the way, people in our Discord are just wanting to point out to you guys that boundaries are an amazing thing. So we've got the people concerned out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just want to let everybody in the Discord know that I've grown, and I don't talk, and I'm very mean to people that are in line trying to get an autograph from Chris these days, because we got to keep the line moving. Can't be trusted.
Sometimes people really want to have like long, heartfelt conversations with me, which is nice, but sometimes the line has actually lasted longer than the show. And Carmen did once look a man in the eye, and this guy was not like being tender, opening up. He was just trying to do bits. Carmen straight up looked him in the eye after about 5 minutes and went, "Dude, bounce." And I was like, oh, whoa.
I actually felt really bad about that because I did that in front of his wife. I did not feel good about that one. But he was doing, there's a huge line. People are trying to meet Chris, and it's like, dude, you gotta go. Like, you're holding up. Like, sometimes we have 2 shows, and it's like, I'm trying to go out afterwards.
Carmen, what are you doing during this time when Chris is doling out hugs? Are you just nervously waiting? Are you holding copies of Lose Well for people that have signed? What are you doing?
I help sell his merch. Like, yeah. I'll run the credit card, but then I'll try to like do jokes and have fun with the people.
And the truth is that Carmen doesn't need to be out there running the credit card for me. It's just a really nice thing he does because honestly, he's able to kind of make it clear to people. Like, it's awkward to say, but it's like when someone's telling me like, I saw career suicide and here's my story, it's awkward. It's very uncomfortable for me to have to say, hey, you got to move on so I can sell another book. But Carmen's actually extraordinarily gifted in a social sense in a way I'm not. And he's able to kind of make it clear to people of like, hey, this is really meaningful and awesome, but also, and he's so kind about it to people in a way that I can't, I shut down. So it's actually really,
well, everybody wants their moment, and that's great. And that's nice. And everybody came out, and Chris, the thing is, Chris will talk to somebody for 15 minutes. And if we did that with everybody, we would be there for 5 hours, and I don't get paid. So I can't be sitting there for 5 hours.
That's paid. Listen, Bryson, you got to go to your karaoke.
No. Here's the thing. If we've got Carmen here, I want to ask Carmen real quick. Carmen, the people would be mad at me if I didn't ask you about how you feel after the 3rd episode of the Great Night Show.
Well, I really loved it. I really had so much fun. I felt like it was, I felt like the difference. I feel like the first show I was like, I want to knock it out of the park, get all the laughs, be the funniest person. But I felt like this time I was like, I just want to set up all my friends who I think are really funny, and I think they all knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, there were, between the Joker bit, I know Discord was losing it over the marionette act, and then Comics Uncaged just had me in stitches. It's one of the
so funny.
Oh,
he was so funny. So was Scott and John and all of them.
just a
David.
freight train. Just a freight train
Jake.
of just energy. It was so fucking good.
I know, that was fun. I was thinking about maybe if I do it again, do that for a full hour.
Yeah. Oh,
And just
absolutely.
have like a bunch of commercials.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And Carmen's been like someone who's led the charge on CGP, and he knows that I've been fighting hard to try to make it survive. And the reason I want to make it survive so bad is because everybody's like doing stuff that good.
Yeah. Carmen, K to the aisle asked, how many credit card numbers have you stolen on the road from people who annoy you?
Oh, 0. I don't steal money. That's not my scene. But that's a funny question.
People were already vouching for you, saying that wasn't your scene in the chat. People know that ain't you.
That ain't my thing. Listen, that ain't my thing.
Carmen, anything else coming off of your three-peat on CGP last week?
Just like in terms of like how'd it go?
Just how you're feeling. Anything you want to let the folks know over in Discord or on Twitch?
I feel good about it. If you haven't watched it, I would say watch it. If you only have limited time, fast forward to Comics Uncaged. And then I would also say, if you're in New York and you want to see me live, I'm doing a full hour on December 12th at Union Hall and December 13th at the Brooklyn Comedy Collective.
Where are people going for those ticks? Are they going to your Twitter? What are they doing?
I would say just go to Union Hall's website or go to Brooklyn Comedy Collective's website.
All right, there you go.
Or if you follow me on Instagram, I posted it.
There's the man. Anything else that you want to pop off about, Carmen?
How long have you guys been doing this? How long? Has this been an hour?
Like tonight? Oh, yeah, it's been like a solid hour, right? What are we at? Oh, we're at like an hour and a half.
No, I don't want to. No, that's too. This needs to end.
Yeah. Yeah, karaoke buds are texting me as we speak.
Go
Carmen,
for it, Bryson.
Carmen, whenever you see Chris plugging one of these Q&As, always feel free to pop off.
All right, thanks. Oh wait, is this you, Bryson?
Yeah, it's me.
Dude, I didn't know what you looked like. You look good on screen, man.
Hey, thanks, baby. I need to get Geth a nice USB camera.
And Carm, that's his room. He's got his room is dope.
Well, I can't see it because I'm on the phone.
Oh, right.
He can't
Fair.
see
Anymore.
Fair.
All right, Carmen, thank you, man. Have a good one.
All right, have a good night, guys. Glad to hop in here and just have a good time.
So good. Thanks, Carmen. Chris, anything else you want to tell the people before we cut this off?
I just want to thank everybody who's been supporting the show. We're going to keep fighting for this thing hard. You guys are like the people in the trenches with us from the start, so thank you. And keep doing my best to bring you good people and have them bring you good comedy.
Thanks, everybody who followed us on Twitch tonight in order to participate. Join the Discord if you're not already over there, chrisgeth.com/live. It's also in our info page on Twitch. Follow CGP everywhere. Spread the good word. And thanks, Chris, for doing this. We got TCGS watch-alongs coming up, more Q&As, things like this. This was fun, right, Chris?
Yeah, it was awesome. We got to do it again.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.